The text message glowed on my phone screen like a knife to the heart. Sis, I need you to be my wedding planner. You're the only one who can make it perfect. I stared at those words from my sister Sophia until they blurred, my coffee growing cold beside my laptop where I'd been working on a new recipe for my blog. The blog that was all I had left of my culinary dreams after giving them up for Stuart. My name is Trinity, and 6 hours ago I discovered my fiancé was marrying my sister. I hadn't meant to find out this way. I'd stopped by Stuart's office to surprise him with lunch, his favorite duck confit sandwich that I'd spent the morning perfecting. Instead, I was the one surprised when I heard familiar giggles coming from behind his closed door. "Stop it, Stu. Someone might come in." Sophia's voice, breathless and playful. I stood there, sandwich bag dangling from numb fingers, as their murmured conversation filtered through the door. "When are you going to tell Trinity?" Sophia asked. "Soon, I promise. Just let me find the right moment." The right moment. Like there's ever a right moment to tell your fiancé you're in love with her sister. Now, hours later, that text message mocked me. I picked up my phone, fingers hovering over the keys. The proper response would be congratulations. That's what our mother would expect. Dignity, composure, family unity above all else. My phone buzzed again. "Trinity, you there?" I took a deep breath and typed, "When's the wedding?" 3 months. I know it's fast, but when you know, right? When you know. Like I thought I knew with Stuart. 3 years together, the last 2 engaged while I put my career on hold to support his law practice. My catering company, the one I'd built from scratch, sold to help finance his partnership buy-in. "Please say you'll do it," Sophia texted. "No one understands food like you do." The irony wasn't lost on me. I called her instead of texting back. I needed to hear her voice, to understand how she could do this. "Trinity, so you got my message?" She sounded excited, not guilty. "How long?" My voice came out steadier than I expected. "How long what?" "How long have you been sleeping with my fiancé?" Silence crackled between us. Then, "Oh God, you know?" "Answer the question." 6 months. She paused. "It just happened. We never meant—" "To what? To hurt me? To destroy everything I've built my life around?" "Trinity, please. You're my sister. I need you to understand. What Stuart and I have, it's real." I laughed, a harsh sound that surprised even me. "Real enough to go behind my back for half a year? I'm sorry, we both are. But maybe this is for the best. You were always more passionate about your cooking than about Stuart." The casual cruelty of that statement stole my breath. "You want me to plan your wedding to my fiancé, and you're telling me it's for my own good?" "Ex-fiancé," she corrected gently. "And yes, I want you to plan it. Because you're my sister, and despite everything, I love you. This could be your chance to restart your catering business." I gripped the phone tighter, staring at the laptop screen where my food blog sat open, the sad remnant of my culinary empire. An idea began to form, dangerous and tempting. "Trinity?" Sophia's voice turned worried. "Are you still there?" "Yes." I took a slow breath. "You're right. This could be exactly what I need." "So you'll do it?" "Of course." I smiled, though she couldn't see it. What kind of sister would I be if I didn't? "Oh my God, thank you. You're the best." Her relief was palpable. "Can we meet tomorrow to start planning? The venue's already booked. The new Riverside Events Center. It's gorgeous." "Perfect." I opened a new tab on my laptop. "Tomorrow works. Text me the time." After we hung up, I sat in silence for a long moment. Then I opened my contact list and scrolled to a name I hadn't called in 2 years. "Enzo, it's Trinity. Remember that talk we had about opening our own venue?" I paused, watching the sunset paint the sky blood red through my apartment window. "I think it's time to revisit that conversation. How quickly can you get to the Riverside district?" The pieces were already falling into place in my mind. Sophia wanted me to plan her perfect wedding. I'd give her a day she'd never forget. I closed my laptop and reached for my keys. Time to remind everyone who I was before I became Stuart's fiancé. Time to show them what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness. Let the planning begin. The Riverside Events Center lobby gleamed with marble and possibility. I arrived early for my meeting with Sophia, watching the morning light stream through floor-to-ceiling windows while my mind raced with calculations. Trinity! Sophia's voice echoed across the space. She rushed toward me, arms open for a hug I couldn't return. Her face fell slightly as I stepped back. "Let's keep this professional," I said, pulling out my tablet. "You wanted a wedding planner, right?" "Right." She twisted her engagement ring, my engagement ring, around her finger. "But you're still my sister." "Am I?" The words slipped out before I could stop them. "Of course you are. Look, I know you're hurt, but—" "Budget," I cut her off. "What are we working with?" Sophia blinked, then named a figure that made my eyebrows rise. "Stuart's firm had a great year," she added, not meeting my eyes. "I'm aware. I helped build that success." I made a note on my tablet. "Guest list? 200. She hesitated. "Mom wants to invite the Bowens, of course, including Stuart's mother, Rosalie." I kept my face neutral, though my stomach churned. Rosalie had been more of a mother to me than my own these past few years. "Fine. Now, about the menu." "Trinity?" A familiar voice stopped me cold. Stuart stood in the doorway, looking uncertain. "I didn't know you'd be here." "Surprise," I said flatly. "Your bride hired me." He crossed the lobby, expensive shoes clicking on marble. "Can we talk? Privately?" "No need." I turned back to Sophia. "As I was saying, about the menu—" "Please." He touched my arm. I jerked away as if burned. "Fine. 5 minutes." We stepped into an adjacent meeting room. Through the glass walls, I could see Sophia pretending not to watch us. "You don't have to do this," Stuart said. "We can hire someone else." "Why, worried I'll poison the champagne? That's not funny. Neither is sleeping with your fiancé's sister." I met his eyes. "But here we are." He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture I once found endearing. "I never meant to hurt you." "Fascinating. Did you practice that line in the mirror, or did it come naturally?" "Trinity." "No." I held up a hand. "You don't get to act concerned now. You lost that right somewhere between screwing my sister and letting me plan my own replacement party." "It's not like that." "Then what's it like, Stuart? Explain it to me. Explain how you could watch me give up everything, my business, my dreams, to support you, all while planning your exit strategy with Sophia." He had the grace to look ashamed. "Things just happened." "Things don't just happen. People make choices." I checked my watch. "Your 5 minutes are up." Back in the lobby, Sophia was on her phone, scrolling through Pinterest boards. She looked up as we approached. "Everything okay?" "Perfect," I said, my professional smile back in place. "Now, about that menu. I'm thinking we should do a tasting next week. I know just the chef." "Oh?" Sophia perked up. "Someone good?" "The best." I pulled up Enzo's contact information. "He used to work for me, actually, before I sold the business." Stuart shifted uncomfortably. "Trinity? About that." "About what?" I kept my eyes on my tablet. "About how the money from my company helped buy your partnership. Ancient history." Sophia looked between us, finally showing a flicker of discomfort. "Maybe we should focus on the wedding?" "Absolutely." I showed them some sample menus. "These are just preliminary ideas. We'll refine them after the tasting." As they leaned in to look, my phone buzzed. A text from Enzo. "Meeting set with the bank. They love the business plan. Riverside property is in play." I smiled, remembering the late-night conversation with Enzo. His connections, my expertise, and a shared vision of revenge. It was amazing how quickly things could come together when motivation met opportunity. "These look amazing," Sophia said, pointing at the screen. "You always were the talented one." "Was I?" I met her gaze. "Funny how quickly talent gets forgotten when something shinier comes along." She flinched. Stuart cleared his throat. "Maybe we should call it a day?" "Of course." I gathered my things. "I'll set up the tasting. Oh, and Sophia, wear something nice. There might be photographers." As I walked away, my phone buzzed again. This time it was Rosalie. "Heard the news. Are you okay? Can we meet?" I typed back quickly. "Coffee tomorrow? There's something I'd like to discuss." Everything was falling into place. Sophia wanted the perfect wedding. I'd give her a show she'd never forget. Sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold. It's served with a side of karma and a generous helping of justice. I stepped out into the sunlight, already planning my next move. The game was on, and this time I was playing to win. The familiar chaos of a professional kitchen wrapped around me like a warm blanket. Enzo's test kitchen buzzed with energy as his staff prepared for our private tasting session. Just like old times, eh? Enzo grinned, plating a perfectly seared scallop. Except now we're not just cooking, we're plotting. Is that what we're calling it? I adjusted the microgreens on a plate of beef tartare. I prefer strategic business expansion. Whatever helps you sleep at night, boss. He slid another plate across the steel prep table. Speaking of business, the bank called. Loans approved. My hands stilled. Really? Really? Riverside Events Center will be ours by next month. He lowered his voice. Still time to back out. Not a chance. I checked my phone. They'll be here in 20 minutes. Is everything ready? Almost. Ramon and Brianna are setting up the private dining room. I froze. You called them? We needed servers we can trust. Besides, they've been dying to see you since, you know. Ramon and Brianna had been part of my original catering team, friends who'd watched me build my business from nothing, who'd watched me sell it all for Stuart. The dining room door swung open, and Brianna burst through, her dark curls bouncing. Trinity! She wrapped me in a fierce hug. God, we've missed you. Ramon followed, more reserved but smiling. The prodigal chef returns. I'm sorry I disappeared on you both, I said, hugging them back. Water under the bridge, Brianna waved it off. Enzo filled us in on everything, including the plan. Her eyes gleamed. Count us in. It's risky, I warned. If this goes wrong, we'll still have stood by you, Ramon cut in, unlike some people. The front door chimed. Through the kitchen window, I saw Sophia and Stuart enter, followed by Rosalie. My heart clenched at the sight of Stuart's mother. Our coffee meeting yesterday had been enlightening. Showtime, Enzo muttered, straightening his chef's coat. I smoothed my own jacket and stepped into the dining room. Welcome to your tasting experience. Sophia bounced forward, all excitement. This place is amazing. I had no idea it was here. There's a lot you don't know about me, I smiled. Shall we begin? Brianna appeared with champagne as everyone took their seats. I noticed Rosalie chose the chair furthest from her son. First course, Ramon announced, setting down the scallops. Pan-seared dayboat scallops with citrus beurre blanc. Trinity, Rosalie spoke up. This reminds me of that dinner you catered for the firm's partnership announcement. Stuart shifted uncomfortably. Mother, what? Am I not allowed to remember when Trinity was part of the family? Sophia stared at her plate. The scallops are perfect. Course after course followed, each one a reminder of my past triumphs. The tartare from a governor's fundraiser, the duck breast from a celebrity wedding, the dessert that had won me my first major award. I had no idea you could cook like this, Sophia said over the chocolate soufflé. You never asked. I sipped my wine. Too busy with other things, I suppose. Stuart cleared his throat. About the cost? Oh, don't worry about that, Rosalie cut in. I'm paying for the catering. Consider it my wedding gift. She met my eyes briefly. After dessert, Enzo emerged from the kitchen. Everything to your satisfaction? Beyond, Sophia gushed. You must be so expensive to book. Quality costs, he shrugged. But for Trinity's sister, we'll make it work. As they discussed details, Rosalie touched my arm. A word? We stepped aside. You're really going through with this? She asked quietly. You're the one who told me about Stuart's creative accounting, I reminded her, about the firm's investigation. I told you because you deserve to know what kind of man my son has become. She glanced at Stuart. Not so you could destroy him. I'm not destroying anyone. I'm reclaiming what's mine. I paused. Are you having second thoughts about helping? No. Her voice was firm. He needs to learn there are consequences. Just be careful, dear. Revenge can consume you. Back at the table, Sophia was signing the catering contract. This is so exciting. Trinity, thank you for doing this. I know it can't be easy. Nothing worth doing ever is. I gathered the contracts. Oh, one more thing. The venue wants to meet next week to discuss layout. Tuesday work for everyone? They agreed, not knowing that by Tuesday the Riverside Events Center would have new owners, not knowing that every bite of food they'd just praised was a piece of my resurrection. As they left, Enzo appeared at my shoulder. Point of no return, boss. Sure about this? I watched through the window as Stuart helped Sophia into their car, just as he used to do for me. They took everything I built. Now I'm taking it back. I turned to face my team, my real family. Let's get to work. The Riverside Event Center looked different now that I owned it. Every gleaming surface, every elegant fixture represented another piece of my plan falling into place. I stood in the main hall, reviewing documents with our new manager when Sophia burst through the doors. "Trinity, you won't believe what happened." She stopped short, noticing I wasn't alone. "Oh, sorry, am I interrupting?" "Not at all." I gestured to the woman beside me. "This is Maria, the venue's new manager. We were just discussing your wedding setup." "New manager?" Sophia frowned. "What happened to Marcus?" "Management change," I said smoothly. "Nothing that affects your booking." Maria excused herself with a knowing smile. She'd been thoroughly briefed on the situation and was more than happy to play her part. "The venue's been weird lately," Sophia said, dropping into a chair. "Everything keeps changing. But never mind that. Guess what Stuart did?" "Developed a conscience?" She ignored my sarcasm. "He's making partner, full partner. They're announcing it next week." My stomach clenched, right on schedule. "Congratulations. The timing is perfect. We'll be able to upgrade everything for the wedding. Speaking of which," she pulled out her phone. The florist sent some new proposals. As Sophia scrolled through flower arrangements, voices drifted from the hallway. Stuart and another man, their tones hushed but intense. "Just make it work, David," Stuart was saying. "Move the money around like last time. The partners can't find out about the discrepancies before the announcement." "It's risky," David replied. "The amounts are bigger now." "I don't care, just do it." I cleared my throat loudly. Stuart and his colleague appeared in the doorway, both startling at the sight of us. "Trinity," Stuart managed. "I didn't know you'd be here." "Venue meeting, remember?" I held up my tablet. We were just reviewing the layout. David made a hasty exit while Stuart joined us, loosening his tie. "How's the planning going?" "Wonderfully," Sophia beamed. "Trinity's thought of everything. Oh, show him the menu cards you designed." I pulled up the designs, watching Stuart's face. He was sweating slightly, his eyes darting to the hallway where his conversation had been overheard. "Beautiful," he said distractedly. "Listen, I need to make some calls. Business stuff." "Always business with you," Sophia pouted. "At least you'll be free for the tasting next week, right?" "Of course." He kissed her cheek and practically fled the room. I waited until his footsteps faded. "Sophia, can I ask you something?" "Hmm?" She was back to studying flower photos. "Do you ever wonder where Stuart's money comes from?" She looked up. "What do you mean?" "Law firms don't usually make junior partners millionaires overnight." "He works hard?" she said defensively. "Besides, what do you know about law firm finances?" "More than you'd think. I used to handle all his accounts, remember?" "That was before. Things are different now." "Yes," I agreed quietly. "They certainly are." My phone buzzed. A text from Rosalie. "Board meeting moved up. They're reviewing the books tomorrow." Perfect timing. I typed back, "Documents ready. Enzo will deliver them in the morning." "Trinity?" Sophia's voice pulled me back. "Can I ask you something too?" "Sure." "Are you really okay with all of this?" She gestured vaguely around us. "Sometimes I feel like you're not really here. Like you're somewhere else, planning something." For a moment, I saw my sister. Really saw her. The slight tremor in her hands, the uncertainty in her eyes. She knew on some level that something was wrong. "I'm right where I need to be," I said. And it was true, just not in the way she thought. My phone buzzed again. Enzo. "Catering staff confirmed for partner announcement party. Brianna and Ramon ready to move." "Actually," I said to Sophia, "there is one thing. Stuart's partnership announcement party. I'd like to cater it." "Really?" Her face lit up. "You'd do that?" "Of course. It's a big moment for both of you." I smiled. I want everything to be perfect. After Sophia left, I walked the venue halls alone, running my hands along the walls that now belonged to me. In 1 week, Stuart would be exposed at his own celebration. In 2 weeks, this venue would host a very different kind of party than the one Sophia was planning. My phone rang. Rosalie again. "Are you sure about tomorrow?" she asked without preamble. "The board needs those documents," I said. "Unless you've changed your mind about helping?" "No." Her voice was firm. "Stuart crossed too many lines. But Trinity, This will destroy his career, his reputation. He destroyed mine first. I watched the sun set through the venue's windows. Besides, he did this to himself. I'm just making sure everyone sees it. And Sophia? I closed my eyes. Some lessons hurt more than others. The call ended, and I stood in the growing darkness, surrounded by the pieces of my carefully constructed revenge. Tomorrow, the first domino would fall. By the time they realized what was happening, it would be too late to stop the cascade. The law firm's conference room crackled with tension. I stood near the buffet table, arranging canapes while pretending not to notice Stuart's increasingly frantic phone calls in the corner. "What do you mean, missing files?" he hissed into his phone. "Find them." Enzo appeared at my side, adjusting his chef's coat. "Board members are all here, including the SEC representative." "Right on schedule," I murmured, straightening a row of champagne flutes. "Rosalie?" "In position. She's talking to the managing partner now." Across the room, Sophia fluttered between groups of guests, playing the role of proud fiancé. She caught my eye and waved, then frowned as she noticed Stuart's agitation. "Everything okay?" she asked him, touching his arm. He jerked away. "Fine, just work stuff." The managing partner clinked his glass for attention. If everyone could gather round. As the crowd assembled, Ramon and Brianna circulated with champagne trays. Right on cue, Brianna stumbled near Stuart, splashing his jacket. "Oh, I'm so sorry." She dabbed at his suit with a napkin, simultaneously sliding his phone from his pocket and passing it to Ramon in one smooth motion. "It's fine," Stuart snapped, but his eyes were on the managing partner, who was now reviewing papers with a deepening frown. "Before we make today's announcement," the partner began, "there are some irregularities we need to address." Stuart's face went pale. "Sir, perhaps we could discuss this privately." "These documents were delivered to the board this morning." The partner held up a familiar folder. "They show systematic manipulation of client accounts over the past 18 months. The room fell silent. Sophia's champagne glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the floor. "That's impossible," Stuart stammered. "Those records were... there must be some mistake." "No mistake." Rosalie stepped forward. "I've been tracking the discrepancies for months, ever since you used Trinity's business money to cover your first theft." "Mother!" Stuart's voice cracked. "How could you..." "How could I?" Rosalie's voice was steel. "How could you? I raised you better than this." Sophia pushed through the crowd. "Stuart? What are they talking about?" "Ms. Anderson," the SEC representative spoke up. "Given your engagement to Mr. Bowen, you should know we'll need to investigate your potential involvement." "My... what?" Sophia looked like she might faint. "I don't know anything about this." "Of course you don't," I said, finally stepping forward. "You never asked where the money came from, did you? Too busy planning your perfect wedding." "Trinity?" Her eyes widened with sudden understanding. Did you do this?" "I simply provided documentation of existing crimes." I met Stuart's gaze. "Amazing what you find when you start looking." "You vindictive bitch," he snarled. "You're just jealous because..." "Because what?" I cut him off. "Because you cheated on me with my sister? Because you used my business to cover your fraud? Or because I finally stopped being your victim?" The managing partner cleared his throat. "Security will escort Mr. Bowen out. The authorities have already been notified." As security approached, Stuart lunged for Ramon. "My phone! Give me my phone!" "This phone?" Ramon held it up. "The one with all the incriminating emails, already forwarded to the SEC." Two guards grabbed Stuart's arms. As they dragged him toward the door, he twisted to face me. "You'll regret this." "No," I said quietly. "I really won't." Sophia stood frozen, tears streaming down her face. "Trinity." "Why?" "Why?" I laughed softly. "Because you both needed to learn that actions have consequences. The venue's paid for, by the way. Consider it my wedding gift, though you might want to cancel now." "The venue?" Her eyes narrowed. "What about the venue?" "Oh, didn't you know?" I smiled. "I own it now. Amazing what you can do with proper business practices and legitimate loans." The room buzzed with whispers as guests began to leave. Rosalie touched my arm. "It's done. Are you satisfied?" I watched Sophia sink into a chair, her perfect world crumbling around her. "Almost." Enzo appeared with a fresh glass of champagne. "To karma?" "To justice," I corrected, taking the glass, and to new beginnings. As we began packing up the catering equipment, Sophia approached me one last time. You destroyed him, she whispered. No, I replied. He destroyed himself. I just made sure everyone saw the truth. I paused, including you. She turned away, shoulders shaking. Part of me wanted to comfort her. She was still my sister. But some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. My phone buzzed with a message from Maria. Wedding cancellation paperwork ready when you need it. I typed back, hold off. Let's see what tomorrow brings. After all, revenge wasn't just about destruction. Sometimes it was about rebuilding something stronger from the ashes. And I was just getting started. The morning newspaper headline screamed, Prominent lawyer arrested for fraud, above Stewart's official firm photo. I set it aside as my mother stormed into my office at the venue. What have you done? She slapped another copy of the paper onto my desk. Your sister is devastated. Good morning to you too, Mom. I continued reviewing contracts. Coffee? Don't be flippant. This is serious. Stewart's been arrested, the wedding's in shambles, and Sophia won't stop crying. Funny how you weren't this concerned when I was the one crying. She sank into a chair. That was different. How? Because it was just my heart being broken, my business being stolen? Your business, she scoffed. You gave that up willingly for Stewart. I gave it up because you convinced me that's what good partners do. I finally looked up. Tell me, did you give Sophia the same advice about sacrifice when she was sleeping with my fiancé? The door opened before she could respond. Sophia stood there, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. Can we talk? Her voice was rough from crying. Mom jumped up. Sweetheart, you shouldn't be here. Actually, I cut in, we should talk. Mom, give us a minute. After Mom left, Sophia collapsed into a chair. The police came to my apartment this morning. I know, Rosalie told me. They think I might have known about the money. She laughed bitterly. God, I'm such an idiot. Yes, I agreed. You are. Thanks. She wiped her eyes. Did you know? About the fraud? Before you started sleeping with him? No, I found out after, when I was trying to figure out where my business money actually went. I'm sorry. The words came out in a whisper. I know it doesn't help, but I am. You're right, it doesn't help. So, what happens now? She gestured around the venue. To the wedding? That depends on you. I pulled out a folder. I have cancellation papers ready. No penalty fee given the circumstances. How generous of you. Her voice turned hard. Was this your plan all along? Buy the venue, expose Stewart, watch us crash and burn? My plan was justice. The method was up to you and Stewart. I leaned forward. Tell me something. Did you ever think about me? During those 6 months of sneaking around? She flinched. Of course I did. And I told myself you were too good for him, that you were meant for bigger things. She met my eyes. I guess I was right about that part. My phone buzzed. Enzo texting about the evening's event bookings. The venue was thriving, our catering business expanding. Success, it turned out, was the best revenge. The thing is, Sophia continued, I didn't just lose Stewart, I lost my sister too. You lost me the moment you chose him over family. Can we fix this? She sounded young, uncertain. Us, I mean, not the other stuff. Before I could answer, Brianna knocked and entered. Sorry to interrupt, but the investors are here for the tour. Give me 5 minutes. I turned back to Sophia. Take the cancellation papers. Think about what you want to do. And if I don't cancel, then I'll give you the most beautiful wedding this venue has ever seen. I smiled. Right before I sell it and move on to my next project, she stood clutching the folder. You really have changed. No, I just stopped pretending to be someone else. I walked her to the door. Oh, and Sophia, the police will find that you're innocent of the fraud. I made sure of that. Her eyes widened. Why would you do that? Because you're still my sister, even if you're not my friend anymore. After she left, I joined Brianna in the main hall where Ramon was leading potential investors through our expansion plans. The kitchen renovation will double our capacity, he was saying, and with Chef Trinity's reputation. Speaking of which, one investor turned to me. I heard about your connection to the Stewart scandal. Quite a story. Ancient history. I said smoothly. We're focused on the future here. My phone buzzed again. Rosalie. Stuart's asking for bail. Should I help him? I typed back. Your choice. He's learned his lesson either way. The rest of the day passed in a blur of meetings and preparations. By evening, I stood in my office watching the sunset paint the city gold. A knock at the door revealed Enzo. Sophia signed the cancellation papers, he said. Maria just processed them. I nodded, unsurprised. And the venue bookings? Full for the next year. Turns out scandal is good for business. He paused. You okay? Better than okay? I turned from the window. I'm free. Free enough to finally have dinner with me? I laughed, caught off guard. Are you asking me out? Depends. Is revenge officially over? Looking around at everything I'd built from the ashes of betrayal, I felt the last weight lift from my shoulders. Yes, I said. I think it is. Then yes, I'm asking you out. He grinned. I know this great venue for dinner. 3 months after the canceled wedding, I stood in my venue's kitchen, tasting Enzo's latest creation when Brianna burst in. Turn on the news, now! Ramon flicked on the kitchen TV, where Stuart's face filled the screen. He stood outside the courthouse, looking haggard in a rumpled suit. Breaking news. Local attorney Stuart Bowen has pleaded guilty to multiple counts of fraud and embezzlement. 5 years, Enzo whistled, plus full restitution to the victims. Including you? Ramon asked. I nodded, sampling another spoonful of risotto. The settlement came through yesterday, more than what I lost on the original business. Trinity? Maria appeared in the doorway. Your mother's here, with Sophia. The spoon clattered against the counter. I hadn't seen either of them since the cancellation. Want backup? Enzo squeezed my hand. No, I need to do this alone. They sat in my office, Mom looking defensive, Sophia pale but composed. A newspaper lay between them on my desk, another Stuart headline. Well, Mom broke the silence. I suppose you're happy now. Mom, Sophia warned, we didn't come here to fight. Why did you come? I settled behind my desk. I'm moving, Sophia said, to Seattle. Fresh start. Running away won't fix anything. I'm not running. She straightened. I got a job offer, a good one, and I need to find out who I am without Stuart, without family drama. Without me, you mean? Without anyone's expectations. She pulled out an envelope. But before I go, there's something you should have. Inside was a check, a large one. What's this? My half of the settlement. Stuart's lawyers said I was entitled to it as his fiancé, but she swallowed hard. It was your money first. It should go back to you. Keep it, I said. Use it for your fresh start. Trinity. I mean it. I don't need it anymore. I gestured around the office. I built something better. Mom cleared her throat. That's the other reason we're here. I was wrong. About everything. I stared at her. In 30 years, I'd never heard those words from her lips. You were always the strong one, she continued. The responsible one. I took advantage of that. Expected you to sacrifice everything while letting Sophia... She trailed off. While letting Sophia take whatever she wanted, I finished. Yes. She reached for my hand. I let her take it. I'm sorry. Me too, Sophia added. And not just because it all fell apart. I'm sorry I hurt you. Sorry I was so selfish. Through the office window, I could see Enzo directing staff for tonight's event. My venue, my empire, humming with life and possibility. You know what the funny thing is? I said. If none of this had happened, I'd still be playing small, still putting everyone else first. And now? Sophia asked. Now I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I stood up. Stay for dinner? Enzo's testing a new menu. Are you two... Mom raised an eyebrow. Dating? Yes. And before you say anything, he respects my ambitions. I wasn't going to criticize. She smiled faintly. I'm learning not to do that anymore. In the kitchen, my team pretended they hadn't been eavesdropping. Enzo busied himself with plating while Brianna and Ramon suddenly found inventory fascinating. Family dinner? Enzo asked carefully. Something like that? I turned to Sophia. When do you leave? Next week. She accepted a glass of wine from Ramon. Will you keep in touch? On one condition. I met her eyes. No more secrets, no more pretending. Deal. She raised her glass. To new beginnings? To truth, Mom added. To empire building. Enzo winked at me. As we ate, I watched my past and present merge around the kitchen island. Mom praising Enzo's cooking, Sophia trading jokes with Brianna, the weight of betrayal finally lifting from my shoulders. My phone buzzed. Rosalie. Heard about Stuart's plea. You okay? I typed back, better than okay. Having dinner with family, both old and new. Good, she replied. You deserve happiness, dear. And Trinity, thank you for not letting him destroy Sophia, too. I looked at my sister, laughing at one of Ramon's stories. She caught my eye and smiled. A real smile, not the perfect plastic one she'd worn with Stuart. Ready for dessert? Enzo asked, pulling out his latest creation. Always, I said, and meant it in more ways than one. The sun set over the city, painting my venue in golden light. Through the windows, I could see couples arriving for tonight's events, staff moving with practiced grace, the empire I'd built from the ashes of betrayal thriving in ways my old life never could. Sometimes revenge doesn't end in destruction. Sometimes it ends in reconstruction, of boundaries, of relationships, of self. And sometimes, if you're lucky, it ends with family dinner in a kitchen full of truth and possibility. I reached for Enzo's hand under the counter. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities, new chances to grow. But tonight was for healing. The autumn breeze carried the scent of roasting chestnuts through the venue's open doors as I reviewed final preparations for tonight's event. Our biggest yet, the city's annual Culinary Excellence Awards. Everything's perfect, Enzo assured me, adjusting his bow tie. Stop fussing. I'm not fussing. I'm ensuring quality. You're nervous because Sophia's coming. He wasn't wrong. My sister had flown in specifically for this event, her first visit since moving to Seattle. Our weekly phone calls had slowly rebuilt some trust, but face-to-face was different. Chef, Brianna rushed in. The judges are here early. I smoothed my dress. Showtime. The main hall glittered with candlelight, tables arranged around a central stage. As nominees and judges filed in, I spotted familiar faces, food critics who'd reviewed my old catering company, chefs who'd competed against me years ago. Trinity? A soft voice behind me. I turned to find Sophia, elegant in deep blue. This place looks amazing. Thanks. I hesitated, then hugged her. She felt stronger somehow, more substantial. How's Seattle? Good. Really good. She pulled back. I'm seeing someone. He's a teacher. Nothing like Stuart. High praise indeed. Trinity, Rosalie appeared, enveloping me in a warm embrace. Dear, this venue keeps getting more beautiful every time I visit. You're just saying that because we named a specialty cocktail after you. The Rosalie Royale is our best seller, Enzo confirmed, joining us, though not as popular as the Trinity Triumph. The lights dimmed, signaling guests to take their seats. I moved to join my team when the host began speaking. Welcome to the 35th Annual Culinary Excellence Awards. Tonight we celebrate not just food, but the stories behind it. Under the table, Enzo squeezed my hand. We'd submitted our venue's revolution story, from revenge plot to culinary empire, for consideration. The judges had been intrigued by how we'd transformed a potential scandal into a success story. And now, the award for Best New Culinary Enterprise. I held my breath. The Riverside Event Center and Trinity's kitchen. The room erupted in applause. Enzo pulled me up, beaming with pride. As I walked to the stage, I caught glimpses of my journey in the faces around me. Rosalie, who'd helped expose truth. Sophia, who'd chosen growth over bitterness. My team, who'd believed in second chances. Thank you, I said into the microphone. This venue was born from a moment when I thought I'd lost everything. My business, my relationship, my sister. I met Sophia's eyes. But sometimes losing everything shows you what you're capable of building. After the ceremony, during the reception, Mom arrived, fashionably late as usual. Congratulations, sweetheart. She handed me a small package. This came to the house for you. Inside was a newspaper clipping about Stuart's prison sentence and a note. You won, fair and square. S. He sent this from prison? Sophia peered over my shoulder. Closure comes in strange packages, Rosalie mused. I crumpled the note and clipping. I don't need his validation anymore. No, Enzo agreed, appearing with champagne. But you deserve to celebrate proving him wrong about everything. Ramon clinked his glass against mine. To the boss who turned revenge into renaissance. To family, Brianna added, chosen and blood. To second chances, Sophia said softly. Mom raised her glass. To my daughter, who taught me it's never too late to change. To us, Enzo whispered in my ear, and all the adventures ahead. I looked around at my empire, not just the venue and kitchen, but the people who made it real. The sister who'd learned to stand on her own, the mother who'd learned to apologize, the team who'd become family, the man who loved my ambition instead of fearing it. Actually, I said, I have one more announcement. All eyes turned to me. We're expanding, 3 new venues across the state, and I pulled out contracts from my clutch. I'm making you all partners, equal shares. Brianna gasped. Ramon dropped his glass. Enzo just grinned. He'd helped me plan it. Partners? Ramon stammered. But nothing. We built this together. We should own it together. As they passed around contracts, hugging and crying, Sophia touched my arm. You did it, she said. You really did it. We all did. I smiled. Everyone here chose to be better than their mistakes. Through the venue's windows, the city sparkled with possibility. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, expansion plans, relationship growth, family dynamics. But tonight, in this moment, everything was perfect. Not because of revenge, not because of winning, but because I'd finally learned the difference between settling and soaring. Dance with me? Enzo pulled me close as music started playing. Always, I said and meant it. Around us, my family, all of them, in all their complicated, beautiful forms, celebrated not just success, but redemption. And in the end, that was the sweetest victory of all.